journey. When did you start being interested in politics and why did you choose this path?
My family has always been involved in politics. My father was a member of Wakil Rakyat, and my cousins. The whole family was very much involved in politics since the beginning of USNO time in the 60s. So it's in the blood, I suppose. And because when you're a son of a child of a very active politician, you end up exposed to his world. So how you handle people, how do you help people, how do you look at the government workings. Now, when I was in the United States, I mean studying overseas, automatically I involved myself in associations which really look into public policy. You know, we talk about economics association, economic students. I was one of them, and of course the obligatory UMNO club involvement. And I must say this, I was one of the founders of UMNO California Utara, Club UMNO California Utara, in 1983, which was 7 years before UMNO went to Sabah. I already believed in what UMNO stands for and what it fights for. So very much, yes, it's in the blood.
And your early perception of UMNO began from your father?
How I got to know UMNO and Barisan, in particular UMNO, I never joined any other party before that. Even my father was USNO, Wakil Rakyat. I was too young to be involved in politics then, so I was never a member of USNO. But then my first party is UMNO. I believe in the struggle. I believe in what the founding fathers of UMNO espouses this party, how it should be. Along the way, there are some characters coming up and subsequently fade away that try to change UMNO. But I try not to think about them because I believe in the struggle of the party. Not so much of politicians or the presidents of the party, because they come and go, and they will color UMNO in a way that they feel comfortable with. But whenever I'm confused, you know what I do? I go back to the constitution of UMNO. What is it all about? And in that constitution, there is no names of leaders, whether it's Tunku Abdul Rahman, Tun Razak, Mahathir, Anwar, siapa nama ni, Pakla, whoever. It's just, what is it all about? And I always go back and it gives me some comfort that I am in the right direction when I look at the constitution of UMNO. So now people say there's a lot of things that have been spoken about UMNO. Fine, but those are people, not the party. When there are incidences of corruption, for example, it's not the party. It's the individuals, and
it's the party that suffers.
Correct. That's what I'm saying to you. That is what I'm saying. And unfortunately, the party suffers. You know, PKR has lofty ideals, but you have problematic leaders as well. You know, so but when I'm confused, like I said, in religion, when you're confused, you go back to Quran and read it. I'm sure in Christianity, in politics, whenever you're confused, you go back to the Constitution. What is it all about? Because everything is stated there. What the party is all about, what it's fighting for.
When the party takes a stand that you personally don't agree with, how do you state your own stand? What do you do then?
A lot of people ask about this when it comes to members of parliament from the Barisan Nasional, because they are seen to be like just rubber stamping everything the government proposes in parliament, which is wrong. I mean, people not understand this. I understand in mature democracy in Europe, what they do is that all the bills and the acta drafted by the parliamentarians. Okay, but in the case of Malaysia, it's actually by the Attorney General, all right, of the government. They make the law, they propose the law. we debate and we approve or not. Now, what happens in Parliament is this: we do a lot of pre-council meetings within Barisan Nasional almost every day during Parliament session. Even today we have 2. Now, what happens in these meetings is that they will present the gist of any bills that are going to be debated and passed in Parliament. Okay? And we will be able to tell them what our concerns are. Not in the Dewan itself, but within our own pre-council group. Okay? Normally chaired by the Deputy Prime Minister or the ministers in charge of the bill. A lot of, and I can tell you instances where we won. GST, for example, despite what Pakatan Rakyat and Tony Phua is saying, GST was delayed not because of that. It was because of pressure by the BNI backbenchers. In a pre-council, he said, no, this bill has a lot of weaknesses and will backfire. So because of that, the bill was pulled out or delayed implementation. Not because of Tony Phua, really, but he claimed everywhere. But that's fine. That's one. Number 2, the other one that was ISA. Until now, the amendments are not there yet because there's a lot of discussion behind the closed doors among the Barisan Nasional component parties and all that. Recently, there were 2 bills that they wanted to extend to Sabah and Sarawak, which we fought and said was not Sabah and Sarawak were not ready for this. That was the quarantine Act and the Kapal Saudagar Act. So we were fighting it within the pre-council, so that when we are there in the Dewan, we are there to support the government, because most of the bills have already been discussed thoroughly by us outside of the Dewan. So it's not really rubber stamping. That's why I told Professor Syarok apa yang ITM tu, law professor tu. I told him that. I said, is it really that you guys were doing a lot of pre-council? I said, yes.
Having said that, in terms of alternative media, did you repeat what you said regarding the media needing to ask MPs the tough questions?
Yeah, I think my request is the alternative media. It's not confined to alternative media, even the mainstream media. They should ask provocative question, tough question. When I say provocative question and tough question, not necessarily you throw things, you malice the guy or you accuse things. No, but in order to expedite responses and for people to understand, it's all about the reporter on site must be able to ask questions, tough questions, not just to the ministers, but also to the opposition leaders when they have their pieces. And otherwise, we just get to read what they say. So, an issue of economy, politics, ask tough questions, and you can ask in a very polite way, like what the Washington press corps in Washington, when the president is fielding questions from the reporters. They are very probing. The questions are very probing. Nothing wrong with that. You should ask a lot of questions, tough questions.
Do you take, or how seriously do you take alternative media? You personally.
Me personally.
Yeah, when you read.
How tough?
For instance,
I just give an example. I may not like Malaysia Kini because I feel that they twist a lot of things, but that will be the first website I read every day. Then Malaysian Insider, then Free Malaysia Today. I will go to the websites of the opposition or so-called pro-opposition first. Then only I go to Utusan Online and Berita Harian Online. So that should answer your question. That I take them seriously. There's no two ways about it. You've got to read what they say. All right.
Is UMNO regaining strong Malay support?
UMNO? I think so.
Why is it?
We have seen in the last 5 by-election, we have 5 straight wins in the by-election, and with convincing voting patterns in all the constituencies, we can see that, and I can feel it also personally. I remember immediately after 2008, when you go into the kampong, the Malay areas, the Malay belts, you could sense the anger, the frustration with UMNO. But now, a lot of things have passed by, water under the bridge. Now they see the colours of Pakatan Rakyat, for example, or they've seen the sincerity of the Prime Minister in order to reform. So I could sense the acceptance back. Even in UMNO functions, sekarang ni dah ramai orang balik. Dulu lantak we don't know, but now you could sense it, and that's good. That's good for the party. I do feel like.
Is this a result of UMNO's work, or is it? You think it's the sole purpose of the Prime Minister also to reach out?
It's combination, but in Malaysian politics, it's always personality driven. If you look at Pakatan Rakyat, Anwar Ibrahim glue everything together. I think it's the same thing with the government. I think Datuk Sri Najib has this huge goodwill value and the appeal across all sections of the society. That's a bonus point to us. Yes, he is the single most important factor responsible to get back the Malay votes.
Rumours of this internal rivalry between Shafi Abdul and Musa in Sabah. They say that Shafi has Najib support and Musa has Muhyiddin support. Is there going to be a proxy war? Are these rumours even? Does it have a basis?
I don't think so. I'm close to both leaders. I used to be the political secretary to Dr. Musa. The first few years when he was the chief minister, I think they were just differences of opinion. You must understand, federation system of governing. You have the federal level and the state level, and everybody trying to protect their turf when it comes to policy matters, distribution of resources, and so on and so forth. So although Datuk Sri Shafi'i Abdul is from Sabah, but he is a federal minister, so naturally he will talk on the basis of what's good for the federal government. What is good at federal government level not necessarily translate into something that the state government wants. Not just Sabah, any state. So you have two personalities who always argue on certain issues. But here's my point. In politics, there's always differences of opinion. But what is important is that when the time comes, when it matters the most, everybody is in one flock. And that's what happened in Batu Sapi. You could see Shafi and Datuk Seri Musa together, work together and make sure that UMNO, Sabah, Barisan Nasional Sabah won the by-election. I'm not too worried about differences of opinion. We are naive if we say that in politics everybody must like each other. It's just how you manage it. Then I think the Prime Minister has been doing a good job. And if you look at proxy war, there's no such thing as proxy war, because if you look at it, Datuk Sri Najib appointed Shafi as the minister of a very important ministry, and also maintained Datuk Sri Musa as chief minister. He could just, if he doesn't like Datuk Musa, he could do that in an instant on a reshuffle of the chief minister's post. So I think Datuk Najib is happy. On one hand, he has a very strong leadership from Datuk Musa to bring the state to a greater heights, and at the same time he has Datuk Sri Shafi Abdul in a very important position. So I think he is quite contented. Both of his men are there.